This is Jerome Boateng, and I am having a picnic tailored for Tiffany today. How you doing today, Taylor?
I'm doing good in yourself.
Yeah, I'm doing really well. I know this isn't like the fancy setup like the spotlight, but you liking the digs we got here set up for you?
I love this actually. I feel more comfortable like in my actual true state because I love nature. I love nature and putting my feet in the grass. And this is beautiful.
Oh yeah, and I know one thing else, you do love food, you know what I mean? You are definitely a foodie,
I
and
am.
you are a snack yourself, of course.
Thank you. You're gonna make me turn red. You're gonna make me turn red.
Yeah, well, before we get into our first dish, I do want to get back a few years ago. There was a feature you did for Talor'd. Yeah, in that feature, you were one of the only, if not the only, poet.
Yeah, I was.
And so just take me back to that mindset. What were you really thinking going into that show as the only poet?
So I was offered to be a part of the showcase, and Dondria, she was featuring as well with Talor'd, and I was nervous and I had to think. I saw that the lineup was full of musical artists, and I had to set myself apart because I'm a spoken word artist. There's no music.
Okay. How'd you
And
set yourself apart?
that is the night Tiffany was born.
Word?
That is the night that Tiffany actually was born. I had the whole setup. I had my poetry album finished and about to be released. So I decided to do a piece from my poetry album, and then I said, you know what? I want to bring this piece to life. It was my first erotic poem, Orange Float, and I said, you know what? I can actually act out these words. So,
Okay, how'd you act them out?
so the funny part is I did have someone in St. Louis, a friend, and I asked them, could I just use them as a victim, to practice or to see how these words will play out and if it's actually doable. They were the ones who actually offered, you should put a blindfold on me. And then I said, you know what? I like that. So that's when I decided to put the blindfold on him, and then I said, I'm going to act out these words and I'm going to put him in the chair because I used to be scared, but nah, this is my playground, my playhouse, my area.
Orange Float, that was your first victim piece.
That was.
Okay, well
Gosh.
listen, what we have here for you today, go ahead and grab this real quick. And now I'm gonna bring out some ice cream for
Oh
you.
my God.
All right, and then we got the orange soda, the unnamed orange soda, because we don't got sponsors around here. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely go ahead and get you some. But while I'm making this for you, I do want to bring you back to those days, because you said that you used to be in the chair, right?
I did used to be in the chair. Oh my goodness.
I would kind of compare it to you being kind of in a cocoon, right? Because when you were like, you were a little caterpillar, just writing your erotica poems, first starting out, and then eventually you got in that cocoon once you started performing. So take me back to those days. How did it feel when you were in that cocoon?
Well, it felt very, it was a bit uncomfortable because I used to write my poetry in a notebook, and if not a notebook, on my notes, and I would read because I was nervous. I understood that I was good at writing vividly. However, I didn't have the confidence to relay those words because this is eroticism. You have to have some type of comfortability and confidence with it. I was comfortable with talking about it, but not confident. And so there was a poet in St. Louis who taught me stage presence and taught me the importance of memorizing my pieces.
Right.
And that's when I said, you know what? If I really want to take this serious, I got to get out of my way.
Okay. When's the first time you performed the memorized piece? Do you remember that? How did it feel for the first time?
You know what? That is a great question. I know it was Orange Float, though. I know it was Orange Float. Now, do I remember when I did it? I don't remember when I did it. But I was nervous. If anything, I was nervous.
As you continued to break out of that cocoon, as you continued to memorize your pieces more and more, was there a moment where, you truly felt like you truly came into your own? Was it that day at Mookie Tolliver's feature showcase?
As far as,
As
I
far,
wouldn't say it was that day.
hmm
It wasn't that day. However, that was the birth of Tiffany, so it did unlock a new level of my artistry as far as the my pen game.
hmm
It shot up because being on that showcase showed me keep up. You got to stay sharp. I would say actually it was when I came to Atlanta for the first time.
Mm.
Yeah, when I visited Atlanta for the first time.
Okay, you went to Apache that first night, right?
I did. I believe it was Erotic Soul.
hmm
Erotic Soul at Apache, and I will never forget the drummer's face because I have it on video. The drummer's face behind me every time because he didn't have to play anything, but you can see him in the background. He's just looking over to the DJ, and he's just mouthing, "Oh my God!" He said, "He's like, yo," and it's those reactions because it's my job. It's my job to touch you without physically putting my hands on you, to caress you with my words.
Yeah.
And when I came to Atlanta and saw how comfortable a lot of artists or individuals are in their sexuality and that they appreciate the beauty in eroticism, I just looked around and B-Rock kept repeating, "You might as well just move down here. This is where I'm supposed to be."
During your time, just first getting started in St. Louis, how would you say they took to your erotic poetry? Because Atlanta really birthed what Tiffany is and gave you that comfortability. What about in St. Louis? How was it?
I will say in St. Louis it is more reserved.
hmm
It's more conservative as far as when it comes to highlighting sex in an artistic format.
hmm
There are certain groups who do appreciate it and accept it, and those are my people.
hmm
However, I will say that the reception of it it's better in Atlanta as far as it's appreciated more in Atlanta.
Yeah. Was Atlanta where you had your first Tiffany's Playhouse?
No,
Oh, so that was in St. Louis.
it was. Well, technically it's on the east side.
Okay, so East St. Louis isn't St. Louis?
No,
Okay, so you got to be from the Lou to know that for real.
exactly.
Okay.
When you cross that bridge, when you
Mhm.
cross that water, you are now on the east side. And that's, where the clubs and the strip clubs are. And I had it it's called the Red Room at Oz nightclub.
hmm
And that was the first Tiffany's Playhouse I did. And my nerves.
What was your vision behind it when you first created it?
I wanted people to realize it's not that deep. Sex is beautiful and it's a spiritual act, and it's essentially life. That's how we're here. It has so much negative connotations around it because of media. It's oversaturated. So I want people to be able to gather where they feel comfortable, and they have different ways of understanding sex as well, because some people aren't comfortable with initiating that conversation.
hmm
But just like how you learn better when it's fun,
Yeah.
that's how it is at the Playhouse, at Tiffany's Playhouse, when you're surrounded by like-minded individuals or people who are trying to open their mind to this.
hmm
And you give them a way to where you're able to express it, not just through poetry, but through dance, pole dancing, through painting. There are different art forms. And it opens up those different conversations as far as women needs, male needs, and, you know, just being able to be comfortable. My goal is I know you're uncomfortable, but my goal is to make you get comfortable.
Word. So that first night, it was a wild one, huh?
The first Playhouse?
Yeah.
first Tiffany's Playhouse, and I'm going to do my best not to get emotional. I was mocked.
Really?
I was mocked. I was mocked because the format of the Playhouse originally was the artist sold their tickets. No one is going to work as hard as you are, ever. No one is going to work harder than you with your show. No one. So the artists would sell their tickets, and they would get to keep the profit from their tickets. They would be able to keep profit from their tickets. And I was always at every open mic just selling tickets. I was online selling tickets, and I will never forget the night before Tiffany's Playhouse. The promoter asked us to check in to see where our ticket sales were. And the other artists, it was clear that it was only one artist in that lineup who took it serious because their numbers were so low and they had over a month. And when someone said, it looks like we're going to have to pull sticks for this, that right there, thank you. Thank you. It just, because to be here, imagine if I would have let that comment get to me, but instead it fueled me. Because picking sticks, now it's people from out of state who want to be in Tiffany's Playhouse. People from out of state travel to see Tiffany's Playhouse. So, yeah.
Now, I want to tell the story of when I first actually met you. Before I met you, I'd only been to poetry events for like 2 months. I wasn't even spitting poetry at all at that time, right? And so when I usually went to poetry events, I loved all types of poetry, except when they started talking about sex. I was one of those people that was just like, oh, here come the freaky frogs. They gonna talk about, oh, I'm gonna do this to you. I want you to do that to me. And I'm just like, okay, sure, we get it. You like sex. But, you know, then there was a piece that I heard from you, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and give you another beverage right here for you. But there's a piece that I heard from you, and that piece was called Brunch. And so we got some mimosa right here for you.
Oh my God.
And you know, I have to say, Taylor, when I first heard that piece, that was the most funny and creative erotic poem I had heard up to that point.
Thank you.
One of my favorite lines from that piece, it has to do with some toaster strudel.
Oh my goodness.
Now, you know, if you wouldn't mind, you know, could you go ahead and, you know, just repeat like a couple bars from that toaster strudel part?
Okay. I said, fill me up so good that I can't stomach you with multiple pops in this gut. Or decorate me. I'll be your toaster strudel.
That's the one that had me laughing out loud, because toaster strudel is my favorite breakfast food.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's really good. Here you go.
Thank you.
Here, go ahead.
You like
take
the strawberry one?
I got the apple one.
Oh, the apple one is good too.
Yeah, you know, we got some strawberries, speaking of which, right here too. Yeah, I'm hooking it up to you. Nice.
Yes, you are.
Yes,
oh my
ma'am.
goodness. This is really nice.
Yeah, of course. How many strawberries you want?
2, please.
All right, we'll give you 2, because these are some big boys. And
They
lastly,
are.
you know, didn't forget the protein. You know what I mean?
The protein.
It's right here. Didn't forget the protein. We got some chicken biscuits. Yeah. You can go ahead and reach and get
This
you a
is
couple.
hilarious and so cute. Oh my God. No one has ever done this before. I am grateful. I am grateful.
Yes, ma'am. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, for sure. Well, look, you know, while you eat, I'll go ahead and just finish the rest of the story, because, you know, I remember after listening to that piece, I had to just come up to you and ask you. I was like, you know, that was the most funny and creative piece I've heard. I didn't say all that, but what I did say was, yo, Taylor, how do you come up with all those? I called you Tiffany. Yo, Tiffany, how'd you come up with all
You
those
did.
metaphors?
You did.
And then you looked me in my eye and you was like, I don't know, it just came to me. and walked off. But you was feeling yourself that day.
So okay, I can elaborate more on that.
Okay.
So whenever, if I do not know you or I'm unfamiliar with you and I just got done doing my poetry, especially if it's a man coming up to me, 95% of my encounters have been, they say one compliment about my piece, and it's just a leeway. It's a leeway to try to get at me or to try to see if I really am about my poetry. To answer that question, before I left St. Louis, one of my mentors, he was actually featured at the last Show Me ATL, Accurate. My mentors, one of his lessons was, I need to be able to turn every single item into a piece. I need to be able to sexualize every single item. And I took that serious because that's not easy. And so I wanted to be sure that I could accomplish that, because anyone could just get on stage and just say vulgar words like with no thought of creativity behind it or intention. I don't want to limit my gift. That's limiting my gift and limiting how special my gift is. I have to be able to communicate it in different ways to my audience. And sometimes it takes metaphors, references, or schemes. Or sometimes I will be direct and just say what it is.
One thing that I've noticed, that erotic poetry, it just comes really easy to you. Has it always been like that? Does it always just flow like water for you? And, or did you really have to work for it?
It's always been natural to me. And as I reflect on my life, I was always going to end here. Because even the music I listened to growing up, all of the nasty songs had the best production behind it. And I would sneak and listen to some Janet Jackson songs too. She's also a teacher of mine. I just have always been comfortable with talking about sex and learning about sex. I wrote my first graphic story in high school. I was so shocked and so embarrassed of it. I hid it. I hid it, even though it was so good. It was so good.
They weren't ready.
No, they weren't. They weren't ready. They couldn't know that Tiffany was inside, trying to get out.
No, I understand that. Well, look, your quality of poetry has definitely been awarded. You know, as you said, you are the National Spoken Word Erotic Artist of the Year. Oh yeah, and you also got yourself the trophy to prove it.
I do.
Oh yeah, you about to bring that thing out? This is the first time. It's exclusive, y'all.
May I have another mimosa?
Oh yeah, for sure.
2025.
And yes, congratulations. That is something that is definitely well earned.
Thank you.
Whenever you're ready, I'll get your mimosa as well. All right. Boom. Oh goodness gracious! I almost drank out the
It's
bottle.
okay. Listen. It's okay. It is okay.
Oh my goodness. Well, listen, as I was going to get into, your quality is unquestioned. But one thing that sticks out whenever I go to the Playhouse, you're rarely ever the only attraction. Unlike that night where you were the only person really selling tickets, you were the only person who really seemed to care. These days, whenever I come to the Playhouse, one thing that I always appreciate is the quality of poetry. I mean, the Playhouse is the first time I ever heard B-Rock. It was the first place I ever heard Amazing Bond. First place I ever heard Rewop. First place I ever heard Ken Jones spit live. And you have some top-notch quality with your shows. And, even with all the crazy things people might see on social media and whatnot, the poetry is really the backbone of Tiffany's Playhouse.
Yes.
So what goes into you selecting artists and curating your set list for the shows that you do?
I look at quality. I look at the work and intention that people have. And I like to make sure that my lineup are people who are professional, are someone who inspire me, someone who makes me have to make sure that I come, even though it is Tiffany's Playhouse, I better show up and I better deliver with my pen. I like people who keep me on my toes. Uh, and I'm very, 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 very um, adamant on my playmates having the best experience. The best experience. I always want them to remember how they felt.
Yeah.
The way that you speak of your experiences in poetry, that's what I want. And I have to make sure that the artist is someone who has also been to a Tiffany's Playhouse, because I need to make sure that the Playhouse, Tiffany's Playhouse, is for you, and you are for Tiffany's Playhouse. Is this the type of environment you want to be in? Can you add value to Tiffany's Playhouse? And I also, when I select, I always want to make sure that I use one of my mentors or someone who inspires me. I am big when it comes to giving people their flowers.
When it comes to your play dates having the best time, you are big on not only audience interaction, but you let the audience be a part of the show.
Yes.
And look, I know what happens in the Playhouse stays in the Playhouse. But one thing I want to ask you is, out of all the games and activities you have for your audience, which one is always your favorite?
Game-wise, Throat Goat.
I knew it. I knew it. That's the classic.
Throat Goat is absolutely my favorite game. It's just, okay, one is my favorite because I like to see the couples get freaky and interactive in front of other folks. I like to see them have fun. And it's a fun game for me too. I like to show my skills. And it's something about, even though I know it's a game, but it's when I look at the person's face as I'm playing the game, and I understand how you are this strong man, but I have made you so weak, and I'm not even touching you. This is all your imagination right now. It's just so, yeah, it does something for Tiffany a lot.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you know about Throat Goat, you know. And if you don't know, then there's only one place you can find out, right?
Tiffany's Playhouse.
Exactly. Well, one of the also things I love about it is there's a lot of unique attractions that come there as well. I remember my first one I went to, you actually had a sexual professor there to actually come through and teach other women, things they can do in bed and things they can do to pleasure their partners. And so, to you, what is your most unique attraction outside of just the games, outside of just the poetry?
As far as unique attraction that I've had in my show,
Yeah.
I would say it's multiple. Because I could say Tantrum when she pulled out the snakes.
Oh, snakes?
Yes.
Hold on, I was not there for this.
Oh yeah, and I love Tantra, and I really want her to bring the snakes, but snakes and black people don't mix. So
I want to know how snakes and sex mix.
So she has, not only does she have the light up butt plug, but she will take the snakes out and she'll just put them on her shoulder, or like if she's on the ground, she'll put it on her back so the snake can go on the arch of her butt. She's dancing with the snakes on her. The snakes are so friendly. They don't bite. They're so sweet too.
I gotta see that.
It was, I have photos I can send you. It was definitely, in my head, I was like, oh my God, that is so sexy. She's going to be dancing with snakes on her. But I didn't count in the fact of black people. Because when those snakes came out, oh, the whole front row cleared.
Oh.
The whole front row cleared. And I was like, okay, so I could say her, but then I want to say Ken Jones because although he does poetry, he's also a comedian. And I love that he was able to have a set where it was erotic based and it was funny. I love when, if you can't laugh with the person you're having sex with, you don't need to. Like, if have you ever laughed during sex before?
Of course.
Yes. It's like, come on now. If you can't do that during sex, that's not your person.
Yeah, you don't really like them like that.
Yeah, you don't like them like
This is
that.
a business transaction.
Yeah. We
Nah,
just smash it just to smash.
well, look, I loved how you explained the vibe that you want to curate for Tiffany's Playhouse. You know, let everybody get comfortable with being a little bit more uncomfortable and express the side of themselves that are usually only expressed for people they're intimate with.
I just want people to understand that there's nothing wrong with you having these desires, you have your kinks, because there is someone for everyone, and you have a community.
It's
I want
human
people to
nature.
find their community.
Listen, I got one more item of food for you. And look, I know we've already had some orange float, we've already had some toasted strudel, but I heard you got a sweet tooth, right?
I do.
Yeah, so I got just a little bit more of a dessert for you.
What you have for me?
And this right here, just a bowl of some candies. 28 to be exact. And yeah, you know, a lot of these candies right here, well, none of these candies are really like the major king size, you know. They're pretty fun size, you can tell, you know. But
And I am fun sized.
of course, not small.
No, not small, not short, fun sized.
Yeah, you know, just like these candies, you know, you can't really, just like candy, you can't really like eat a king size candy bar all the time. You know, honestly, you probably only get it like, you know, once every other month or so,
Yeah,
if that.
That's true.
I kind of like compare that to the Playhouse, because you don't just do the Playhouse like every single week or hell, every single month. You know, you only really do it once every few months. But, you know, is there other things that you have that like kind of supplement that itch, you know, for folks to really be able to, you know, get their nastiness out, maybe not in a Playhouse kind of way, but just in their own way?
Yes. So there is a build up to Tiffany's Playhouse. We have Tiffany's Playdate. That is a open mic. It is a competition for the nastiest artist, $100. However, in addition to that, how we revamp it is there's a road to Tiffany's Playhouse. So we'll begin at Tiffany's Playdate, where we find the nastiest artist.
Okay.
That nastiest artist will now go to our monthly Tiffany's Playground.
Okay, so Playground, that's the monthly show.
That's the monthly show.
Okay.
Yes. It will be coming back November 21st.
Word?
That is where it's a play day. It's a playground because that's where the nastiest artists will go and they will play against each other to win the ultimate feature at Tiffany's Playhouse.
Okay, so it's like you have the play date, which is every week or every other week. And
Every other Sunday.
Yeah, every other Sunday. Okay, so that's bi-weekly. You got the Playground, that's monthly. Folks who win the nastiest poet at the play date, they get a chance to be in a competition for the Playground.
At the Playground, correct. Where, in addition to them competing to be the feature at Tiffany's Playhouse, there are also 2 body painters who are competing as well, where they compete for a $50 gift card to Blick Arts and Supply.
Okay, yeah, and I'm glad you got into that, because like, what is like the major differences between, you know, the play date and the Playground?
The play date is open mic competition, nastiest artist, $100, and that is you have your ticket, you have your entry ticket to being in competition to feature at the Playhouse, at Tiffany's Playhouse. That is so kind of like the interview process, right?
All right.
You have your interview process. Then we'll say that the Playground, Tiffany's Playground, is on the job training. and then you're finally at Tiffany's Playhouse where you're free and you're on the floor and you're working.
Oh, so this is like, so that's like more so like centered for poets who've wanted to perform at the Playhouse, right?
Correct.
Word.
That is correct because I do listen. I listen to artists. I listen to my audience, and there have been so many times where I'm at Tiffany's Playhouse and people will come up to me and say, "Hey, how can I perform? Can I get on the list? I have this piece I want to share. It's a showcase." I'm sorry. So it just became a repetitive at every show. Someone wants to perform, or multiple people are coming and they want to perform. So I wanted to create a way where they can perform at Tiffany's Playhouse, and then I also wanted to create a platform where if you didn't want to perform at Tiffany's Playhouse, you just would like to have a safe space in which you can share your erotic poetry.
Yeah.
I wanted to provide that for Tiffany's Playdate.
Yeah, word. And you know what? One thing I do like about it is, you know, with these like you know, monthly shows and also the bi-weekly show, as much as I enjoyed the Playhouse the first time I came through, it was a lot, especially for a guy that's never been to an erotic centered show. So I like the fact that you have these shows that allow audiences that may not be quite so ready for the Playhouse to just kind of be able to dip their toe in erotic poetry, you know, come through, hear an open mic, potentially even inspire them to get into it as well, you know. So is that something also a reason why you created it too, for your audience to be able to engage with you if they're not quite ready for the Playhouse yet?
Yes, that is correct. It is a build-up. Just how with sex, there's a build-up with sex. You have the foreplay, then you have the meetup, and then it happens. So Tiffany's Playdate will be you have the meetup, you have the first time, and, you know, there's some sexual tension that you have, right?
Yeah, just a little bit,
Right,
you know.
just a sexual tension. Okay, you may get a hug,
You know,
you may get the lower back with the hug, right?
all around the shoulder and whatnot, you know, just
Right.
testing the waters.
Right. And then the playground, you have, okay, so we already been on a couple dates. We didn't kiss. We done got a little, you know, touchy. And then Tiffany's Playhouse is, okay, would you like to come up?
The full shebang.
Yes. However, I do want to clarify. Tiffany's Playhouse is an explicit show. However, that is not for actual play or
Okay.
lifestyle party. We make sure that you're probably not going to make it out the parking lot because it does get that intense with the sexual energy. So yeah.
Well, listen, you know, it's getting a bit dark out here, so, you know, we're going to start packing it up pretty soon, but I do want to ask one more question. You know, you gave people a blueprint on how they can become a feature at the Playhouse.
Yes.
You gave the people a blueprint on how they can not only be a part of the audience, but also participate in the show, even if you're not performing, right? How can someone be a victim? I know there's people out there that want to know that. They done seen what you do and they want to be in that chair.
So how you can be a victim is originally there was a system that I had to it. You know, at first I would scope out the room and I would have a conversation with the gentleman that I had some attraction to. And it is a gentleman who will be the victim. I prefer a male because I am heterosexual. And it's the energy that I pick up. If I feel safe or comfortable, that's when I'll say, "Are you brave?" And then when I say that, they get all, "Yeah, I'm brave." I said, "Are you sure you're brave enough?" And then they'll get even more cocky. And I said, "Are you brave to be my victim?" And they'll say, "Your victim?" Hell yeah. I said, "Okay. So when I call you and say that, you gonna be ready?" And then everything changes when they get in the chair. But now moving forward, we will have a process in which there is a waiver that is filled out for this, and there will be a special ticket to be the victim.
Yeah, so you can be a victim if you want to. You just got to pay. But, you know, Taylor, thank you so much for coming out here on this picnic. You know, it was great talking with you. I hope you had a great time, too. How'd you enjoy it?
Thank you. How I enjoy it, I don't even want it to end. This was amazing. I didn't even feel like this was an interview. I feel like I was on a picnic and I had a very great conversation on my picnic.
No, that's awesome. Well, I'm definitely glad you had a great time. It's always good catching up with you, talking with you as well. And, I appreciate you, coming out here. It's my first independent venture. You know what I mean? So, definitely hope you guys liked it out there. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I will definitely be doing this soon. It won't be really a picnic setup. We're going to be doing different setups for each one of these personal interviews. But I'm so glad that you guys stuck through to the end. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace.